Hi there, my name's Charlene McAvoy. I'm the Leisure Safety Manager for RoSPA, and I'm also the Secretariat and founder of Water Safety Scotland.
Hi there, I'm Watch Commander James Sullivan of the Scottish Fire and Rescue Services Water Safety Group, and I'm also a member of the Water Safety Scotland Steering Group.
Thank you for having us speak today, and we're just going to quickly run through a short presentation on Water Safety Scotland. So, Water Safety Scotland is a group that was established by RoSPA back in 2014 in response to a number of drivers and different influences, including the Paddy Tompkins report, but also the increase and focus on water safety globally and nationally that was being received from Scottish Government. The purpose of Water Safety Scotland is to influence, coordinate and lead the aims set out in Scotland's drowning prevention strategy. In terms of our status, we're a voluntary association of organisations and individuals, and we do provide advice and support on matters of water safety, providing a standing network in Scotland to address water safety and drowning prevention. And we link very closely to the UK National Water Safety Forum and also Water Safety Wales. So the number on your screen will probably maybe new to some and not to others, but this essentially is the average number of fatalities that we see every year in Scotland. Now, this number is based on our drowning prevention strategy baseline, which is data from around 2013 to 15 and the data that we base the strategy on. But essentially 96 fatalities every year in Scotland, of which 50 are accidental and a further 29 are suspected suicide. The rest are generally crimes or not recorded, which tends to be quite a high number in Scotland. Scotland's drowning prevention strategy utilised that 3-year average that I talked about, 2013 and 15, to get this 96 water-related fatalities per year. The most recent 2021 data that comes out clearly shows an overall increase. So if you look at this chart, the very thick dark blue line at the top shows the overall water-related fatalities and how that's changed since 2017. So last year in 2021, you can see that actually the number of fatalities was 105, which is well above the average of 96. And that's quite an increase in comparison to previous years. You'll probably also notice that the lighter blue line is the accidental suspected line. And you can probably see that from 2017, this figure actually started to come down a little bit, but 2020, there was a huge increase in accidental fatalities in Scotland. So this is looking a little bit more closely at that the accidental fatalities. So there are two different lines. The first sort of dotted blue line is that baseline from our strategy, but we also looked at a 5-year average, which is that green line, that green sort of dotted line. And that was data from 2016 to 2020, which we used in our interim review of our strategy. And that actually showed that on average, our accidental fatalities had come down from that 50 to 44 per year. But as previously said, and as you can see in this 2021 bar, that had increased, and unfortunately last year we saw 58 accidental fatalities in Scotland, which is roughly about a 16% increase in comparison to our baseline. So at this precise moment, we now know that accidental fatalities sadly are at their highest point since, well, over the last 5 years. It's at its highest point. What does that mean in comparison to other countries? Well, this is a chart which uses the World Health Organization global health estimates, and we know worldwide that around 236,000 people lose their lives to drowning each year, mostly in low and middle income countries, and we know that it's the 6th leading cause of death worldwide for children. However, Scotland is a really high income country, but we still see a relatively significant amount of drowning fatalities when we compare it to our sort of European neighbours. So when we look at the rates per 100,000 to these European neighbours, we can see that we actually have a really high drowning rate in Scotland. You can see the UK quite close next to us, around 0.4, but using our most recent data for Scotland specifically, we're well over the 1 mark, on sort of par with Ireland and France, and very much above countries such as Austria and Italy, Portugal and Spain.
So the demographics of the fatality information that we have from the interim review stats for the period 2016 to 2020 are as follows. 87% were male. The highest number of males were in the age bracket 60 to 69, closely followed by those in the age bracket of 40 to 49. The highest number of females were aged in the range between 20 and 29. Coastal locations accounted for 42% of incidents, with 58% being inland. And this is a shift from the baseline in Scotland's drowning prevention strategy, where coastal incidents accounted for the higher number of incidents. And the activities being undertaken were 50% recreational, with 36% being everyday activities, which is consistent with the rest of the UK. So the figure that you currently see displayed on screen, £1.7 million, is what most recent studies estimate the financial cost of a drowning to be. Now, this doesn't take into account the emotional and psychological costs of losing a family member, friend, or a loved one to drowning. So Scotland's drowning prevention strategy was released in 2018, following the release of the UK drowning prevention strategy in 2016. This strategy was specific to Scotland and took into account geography, demographics, law, and the education curriculum in Scotland. The targets of the strategy are to reduce accidental drowning deaths in Scotland by 50% by 2026, and to reduce risk amongst the highest risk populations, groups and communities. And we also look to contribute to the reduction of water-related suicides.
So in addition to these targets, Scotland's drowning prevention strategy also takes forward specific themes and work streams. And if you haven't actually read the strategy before, then we really do urge you to do so. But each of these work streams basically has a working group or a subgroup that takes forward the activities and objectives outlined in Scotland's drowning prevention strategy. So I won't go into much detail on this chart, but this is essentially how Water Safety Scotland is made up. At the very top, we have a steering group, which is currently sit on by RoSPA, SFRS and RNOI. And this feeds into RoSPA, who are the current Secretariat, and Water Safety Scotland is under our auspices. So beyond the steering group and below us, we have the strategy subgroup, which really looks at the strategy and brings everything together and ensures that what we set out to do on the strategy is actually happening. And each of our subgroups kind of feed into this. So we have obviously the data subgroup, which, as you can imagine, looks at data and intelligence. The education subgroup, which looks at education for young people, but also for adults. The comms subgroup, which is general communications and awareness raising for all groups. Recreation, which looks very specifically at recreational and water-based activities. Suicide prevention, to look very specifically at this topic, and our search and rescue subgroup, which I have noticed is spelt wrong, which obviously looks at search and rescue and response. Additionally, we have a policy working group, which looks at water safety policies for local authorities, and a families working group, which is in the very, very early stages of being created, which is looking at how best Water Safety Scotland can support families who are bereaved by a drowning fatality. So just to highlight, there is lots happening in water safety in Scotland, and we did release our interim review back in March, so that's on the Water Safety Scotland website and is really worth a read to see what we're up to. But we will highlight just a few pieces of really key work that might be of interest, and that is the drowning incident review, pause groups, education and public rescue equipment and signage.
So the Drowning Incident Review, or DIR process, was developed via the Water Safety Scotland data subgroup and has been designed for use by search and rescue organisations or water safety groups, and in particular pause groups, and I will expand further on what a pause group is in the following slide. So DIR was created as an in-depth process which aims to ensure a comprehensive and consistent review of each accidental water-related fatality in order to better understand the contributory factors and gather all relevant data and intelligence that may help to prevent future incidents. It covers coastal and inland accidental fatalities, but does not cover crime, boating or commercial incidents or suicide, and it also ties into other relevant death reviews, such as a child death review. DIR may identify opportunities for improvement in water safety, but it is not used to apportion blame to individuals or organisations. Any opportunities for improvement that arise are delivered constructively and will be managed by the local pause or water safety group as part of their local agenda for improving water safety. So a pause group, or a partnership approach to water safety group, is a multi-agency approach to raising water safety awareness that combines the knowledge and experience of those individuals and organisations within our communities that best understand the risks. Its key aims are to build upon the existing good practices currently undertaken in the area and to allocate responsibilities clearly in a manner that is agreeable to all partners. It aims to assist in the delivery of emergency response to and education in the prevention of water emergency incidents, and it aims to be consistent with the aims of Scotland's drowning prevention strategy. The rollout of pause groups throughout Scotland is being progressed by Water Safety Scotland.
In terms of education, through our education subgroup, we've also been developing curriculum-based and community-based education materials. So for the curriculum, we've launched a progression pathway of free water safety lesson resources for schools and teachers to use. These have been developed with Education Scotland and endorsed by a wealth of supporting partner agencies. The materials actually aim to provide consistent curriculum-aligned information and progression to help people and young people develop valuable life-saving knowledge, skills and understanding. The third / fourth level has been launched, and that was launched I think last month, and our senior phase is next. So we also, in addition to this, have our water safety workshop, which is available for practitioners and partner organisations to use. So this is a completely free resource, and it's suitable for use of any young person over the age of 14, and it is free and accessible on the Water Safety Scotland website. Each of these resources all use the water safety code to keep consistency.
Water Safety Scotland are also championing the Waterside Responder Scheme, which was designed and built by the RNLI to be able to prevent loss of life by training local business holders and water users near a water source such as a beach, river or harbour in basic rescue techniques. Through contact with members of Water Safety Scotland, the RNLI have entered into partnership to share the resource and run sessions throughout Scotland. In 2021, RNLI worked with Scottish Fire and Rescue Service and the Loch Lomond and Trossachs National Park to run 2 days of sessions at Pinxton Water Sports Facility and at Loch Lomond Shores. The main objectives of the training are to provide safety advice to those using waterside areas, recognise hazards in and around the water, and to safely rescue someone from the water. A second event was held at Loch Lomond in April 2022, with 3 further events planned for Dumfries and Galloway, Edinburgh and Glasgow in 2022. In terms of signage, RoSPA, the RNLI and the Scottish Community Safety Network have undertaken a signage audit to look at the consistency or the lack of for water safety signage in Scotland, with the aim to move the project into a second phase of creating and developing specific water safety signage that can be used throughout Scotland. So the future plans for Water Safety Scotland include continuing with the implementation of Scotland's drowning prevention strategy and supporting the implementation of the Minister's Action Plan, which was launched in March of 2022 by the Minister for Community Safety, Ash Regan. This plan was launched to help reduce drowning fatalities after the summer of 2021 and features many of the stakeholders and complements Scotland's drowning prevention strategy. World Drowning Prevention Day will be held on the 25th of July at the Helix for the public to help promote water safety and drowning prevention across Scotland. In line with the WHO's theme of Do One Thing to Prevent Drowning, we will be providing water safety advice and highlighting the Water Safety Code.
So that's us at the end of our presentation. We'd just like to thank you for the opportunity, and of course you can find out more information about Water Safety Scotland online. Additionally, you can contact us at info@watersafetyscotland.org.uk. We're always happy to have new members, so if it's something that you're interested in or your organisation is interested in, please get in touch. Membership is free, and you can get involved with everything water safety related in Scotland. Thank you.